The Philippines is known for its strong family values and deep-rooted religious beliefs, but surprisingly has a high percentage of single mothers. Despite the society's emphasis on marriage and family unity, why are there so many single mothers here in the Philippines? Okay, so in today's video, everyone, we are going to be talking about why there are so many single mothers here in the Philippines, despite the fact that Philippines is known to be one of the most religious country in the world. A recent study by the World Health Organization shows that there are 15 million solo parents here in the Philippines and that 95% are actually women. So why is that? Why there are so many single mothers here in the Philippines? Well, you know what, guys? One of the main reasons why there are a lot of single moms here in the Philippines is because of the lack of education on sexual health and protection. Well, you know what? For me, I guess it's not that really common for people, especially to those younger generation or to the younger Filipinos or Filipinas nowadays, to learn about these topics, about sex education. Because without this knowledge, without sex education, they might not know how to prevent pregnancy, and this can only lead to unexpected pregnancies. And oftentimes, unfortunately, the Filipino women actually end up raising their child alone as a single mothers. So to break it down further, sex education is really vital in any society because it helps individuals to understand the implication of their actions and to make informed decisions about their bodies. So yeah, it's really important. The sex education, how to prevent pregnancies and stuff like that is really important in today's generation, right? However, guys, unfortunately here in the Philippines, there's only limited access to comprehensive sexual education. And this actually means that many people, particularly the younger generation, may not actually fully understand how to use contraception, birth controls, or any ways on how to avoid or how to prevent unplanned pregnancies. And then, unfortunately, when the unplanned pregnancies occur, it's actually often the women, the Filipino women, who ends up shouldering all the responsibility. And that's because the father isn't really willing, the Filipino father isn't willing or unable to support financially. So the woman may have no choice but to end up raising the child alone. And this situation actually leads to an increased numbers of single mothers here in the Philippines. No wonder why there are so many single moms here is because of that specific reason, which is the lack of sex education. Okay, so the next reason of why there's so many single mothers here in the Philippines is because abortion is illegal. Okay, so abortion is illegal under any and all circumstances under the Philippine Constitution and statuses. Here in the Philippines, abortion is not allowed even when the life of the mother is in danger, and for that matter, even when the life of the unborn baby, unborn child is threatened. So under this Philippine law, the life of the unborn and the life of the mother, the Filipino mother, shall be equally protected because they are equally valuable. So yeah, that's one of the reasons why there are so many single mothers here in the Philippines, because there are no safe and legal way to get an abortion here. First is because the Philippines is a predominantly Roman Catholic nation or very religious country, and abortion is actually believed here to be a sin to murder. And secondly, guys, here in the Philippines actually it's very hard for you to find a medicine to abort a child, even in the early weeks of pregnancy. And unfortunately, abortion has a big penalty. And yeah, that's one of the reasons why the single mother just prefer or choose to keep the baby instead of paying the big penalty. And even if the Filipino father is not willing to financially support the Filipina, then the Filipina will still choose to keep the baby instead of having this big scene, going to the hell and to pay this big penalty. And that's how most Filipinas think here. Okay, so the next reason of why there are so many single moms here in the Philippines is because of religion. As you guys all know, religion is actually ingrained in Filipino culture, and there is a taboo around sex in general here. And actually, many adults still feel awkward every time we talk about contraceptives, birth controls, and any other things that is actually preventing pregnancies, unplanned pregnancies. So yeah, again, sex is really considered taboo topic here in the Philippines, and you will actually be considered a bad person every time you talk about sex. I can personally attest that Filipino parents do not directly talk about sex here, almost as if that sex word is actually forbidden and you will be a sinner every time you talk about that. But you know what? On the occasion that they do discuss or talk about something like sex, Filipino parents just go about, just go out or ignore something about this one. They ignore or they don't even care about this kind of topic. And sometimes the Filipino children just learn about sex through schools, wherein discussion is not really much intense, or they learn it from their friends or peers, which may not be really completely factual. And because again, it's considered taboo topic here in the Philippines, then yeah, Filipino teens actually know basically nothing about the topic, about sex education, about sex, and they become ignorant to the possible connotations of unprotected sex, especially the premarital sex. Okay, so the next reason of why there are so many single moms here in the Philippines is because there is no divorce and no right constitutional enforcement in the Philippines. So yeah, this is actually so true. And you know what? Because there is no divorce here in the Philippines, the Filipino couple just stay being together without marriage so that whenever their relationship starts to deteriorate, they will just separate and remain single. And unfortunately, a lot of Filipino women actually ended up taking all the responsibility as a single mom. And you know what? If their marriage does actually break down, there is no divorce here in the Philippines. Well, there is annulment, but it's quite very, very long and quite expensive process, which many Filipino couples cannot really afford, meaning that they may in stuck in a broken marriage, so they will just simply split and move on with their lives. So that's why they will just not get married because again, there is no divorce here. And you know what? Filipino men in this kind of situation often end up with new families, with new women. But for the Filipina women, for the single mom, it is most likely not easy for them to find another husband or boyfriend because of course some Filipino men or even foreigners, they don't like having someone who is already have a child or children to other men, right? So it's really sad for them. But unfortunately, the concept of step parenting is less common here in the Philippines than anywhere else in the world, and it is just so sad. And regarding with the one that I mentioned earlier, which is the wrong constitutional enforcement, what I actually meant by that is there is no strict law to enforce the Filipino man to stay with his partner after the Filipina is pregnant or after giving birth to the child. Unlike much in the West countries where, men who get women pregnant walk out on their responsibilities, find the government to dip their bank account to financially support their children. And unfortunately, here in the Philippines, it is just so sad. It is just so bad. There is no right constitutional enforcement law here because, Filipino men can easily get away with just abandoning their families, and they frequently do that. That's why some of the Filipino, they just keep doing it, like getting the girl pregnant and then end up leaving them after getting boom boom with them. So it's just so bad. So the next reason of why there are so many single moms here in the Philippines is because there is also many irresponsible and unfaithful Filipino men partner. Okay, so you know what? It's just so sad. For some reason, some Filipino fathers just do not own up to their responsibilities And some of them don't even stay even before or even after the baby is born. Well, Filipino men are taught to be independent, but some are just not really quite mature enough when they become a fathers. Frequently, this unwanted pregnancies happen during teenhood because lack of sex education. So that's what I've mentioned earlier, especially in the rural areas or in the lower income class in the Philippines, like in the provinces. And you know what? Unfortunately, there are so many F-boys. There are Filipino men, young and even old, who courts a girl for social games only. And after having sex with the girl, the Filipina girl, he will just end up leaving that girl for another girl. And worst case scenario, sometimes leaving the Filipina girl pregnant. And of course, some of the Filipina girls are just so innocent or naive, and that's why they just love that Filipino man. But there are just so many F-boy Filipino men out there, very irresponsible, very unfaithful, and cheaters. So to those Filipinos watching this, guys, back off. Okay, so let's go to the last but not the least. One of the reasons of why there is so many single mom here in the Philippines is because of peer pressure. Well, you know what? Here in the Philippines, family is very important. And if you are in your middle 20s, then yeah, most of your families is expecting you to get married or to have a family already. And many Filipino women or even the Filipino men actually feel the pressure. And some of their friends actually are getting married or having kids already. And some of their aunties or uncles are teasing them and keep asking those Filipinas when are they going to get married or when are they going to have kids. And oh, actually, as I forget to mention this one, marriage is really important here in the Philippines too. And that's the reason why women thought that if they get pregnant with their Filipino partner, they will get married eventually, which for me, I think is very close to impossible. And from my point number two, where, you know what, it's just so sad because even if they are not financially ready, emotionally ready, physically ready, but they still choose to make a baby, they still do boom boom, or they still do unprotected sex, which I think is one of the reasons why there are so many single moms here in the Philippines, because sometimes just, there are so many F boys, Filipino men F boys, and very naive Filipina young girls. But well, I can't blame them though, but I just really hope to those Filipinas watching this, they will not leave the opinion of other people, and they will do something of their lives with their own beliefs and with their own opinion without having to rely on someone else's opinion or to do not let anyone dictate them. So yeah. For me, I really believe that as long as the romantic sexual relations among young Filipinos remains a taboo topic here in the Philippines, then yeah, just do really expect that there will be an early pregnancies and it will continue at a very shockingly high levels. I just really hope though that the institutions, schools, and Filipino families here in the Philippines should really work together to explain to the children or to the younger generation nowadays the real concepts of good and bad touch, the safe sex, and the long-term effects or the long-term impacts of early parenthood to both the parents and the children. Because, I believe that providing space for such conversations like this, for sex education and perspectives about their future, will actually help young people to broaden their horizons or to broaden their knowledge when it comes to sex. Because, we need these Filipino children to develop critical thinking and not just follow the do not have sex and you will be okay mindset. So I just really hope that time will come, the Philippines will consider sex topic not taboo anymore. And I just really hope that you will be very open-minded or very open to this kind of discussion, because it will help this young generation as long as, of course, they will be taught the right explanation for this kind of matter. So yes, that's it everyone. Thank you so much for watching my video. And again, I already mentioned you a few of the many reasons of why there are so many single mothers here in the Philippines. And guys, if you really like my content, please do not forget to subscribe to my channel, click the like button, and click the notification bell for more videos update. Bye bye!